What's up, my brothers? This is Carlos Green with the Men's Power Connect, and welcome back to another episode of the Men's Power Connect, where our mission is to equip, engage, and empower men in life and leadership. Love that we're going to start a new series, and I have my amazing co-host here with me, Mr. Osei Harvey.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good to have you guys back.
Yes, and then also on the mic, too, Mr. Myron Head. What's up, man?
Grace and peace, everybody. So glad to be here.
What happened, Myron?
Excited.
The laugh. But anyway,
excited to be, you silly man. Excited to be back with y'all for another exciting episode of the Men's Power Connect podcast.
Mm-hmm. And so we're actually getting ready to start a new series, right?
Yes.
So if you have not seen our latest episodes, please go back and watch them. Also, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram. But this series here, we're actually going to be talking about our current climate.
Yeah.
And what do we do as men to step up in a leadership capacity as well as a spiritual capacity, and then how does that impact us mentally? So we have our subject matter experts here. So walk with us through this, and we would love to hear your comments on what this means to you and how it's impacting you, your leadership, your spirituality, your mental well-being. What does that look like, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I am, let's dig in here. Myron, do you want to just kind of give us context for what's happening, or I can walk through that?
Yeah, we can kind of tag team it. So
please.
So obviously, we're looking at our current environment, and we are seeing a lot of challenging things, right? Which is not too uncommon, right? The Bible tells us there's nothing new under the sun. So we have these cycles where things can get kind of challenging. And I think here it's the challenging is a lot of things converging at the same time, right?
Yes.
So we have a challenge, obviously, within the political / the federal climate. We are seeing some things that are really unprecedented at the government levels, with a lot of the layoffs, a lot of the resignations, and just even some of these executive orders that are being signed, some programs being cut. And again, we're not trying to be political one side to the other, but just acknowledging that there's some uncertainty that's happening as a result of some of the decisions that are made from a political standpoint, as well as the tariffs, which we still kind of have lingering out there. And that is something that is also impacting us economically. And then also the housing market is in a very different space. I was actually looking at the new construction report, housing reports that come out every month. And I believe they said that the price for homes was at the highest it's ever been. The median price, is at the highest it's ever been in this previous report. And the interest rates have not, subsided much at all. Yeah. So economically, there are some things that are going on that are quite challenging. And then on top of that, we have, even with a lot of private sector companies doing a lot of layoffs, doing a lot of cuts. And a lot of these cuts are coming as a result of the advancement of artificial intelligence, AI, coming in and being able to allow companies to do things more efficiently and faster, and not needing the manual labor or the manual output, so to speak, in order to reach their targets and things like that. So how do we navigate that, right? So what are some of the things, I know Carlos is going to hit on some of that you can do to kind of keep yourself in a good space from an employment standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. And then, of course, we have a mental health epidemic that has been plaguing us for some time. I would say the apex of it felt like 2020, obviously, with COVID. Right. But now we're still seeing a lot of those lingering effects of it. And even when it comes to young men and men within the ages of 20s and their 30s, we've heard others kind of speak on this, of the challenges that men are having, even in dating and meeting a young woman, because it's not like when we grew up, you just walk over, hey, can I get your number? Do you like me? Do I like you? Check the box. That was it. What we did. Now the conversation is, hey, how you doing? Well, what's your handle?
Right.
Well, just give me your Instagram and I'll check you out, then decide on if I want to date you. The process is completely flipped.
Right.
Before it was learn the person then decide, is this someone I want to spend more time with? Now I'll just go on Instagram, I'll go on Facebook, and I'll see what you've been posting, what you've been talking about. Then I'll decide if I'm interested in you.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if they're going on Facebook though.
they're not going on Facebook
Not anymore.
Not in their 20s and their 30s.
No.
In their 40s and 50s, probably. Yeah. Y'all get the drift.
Okay.
So that's different, right?
Right.
And that can definitely have impact on us from a mental health standpoint. And then spiritually, what do I do? How do I navigate all of this and maintain my faith? How do I lead my family through it? How do I lead myself through it? How do I stay engaged with the right people? And more importantly, again, with all of that we have with the technology, the social media, the news, and the things coming at us, how do I guard my eye gates and my ear gates? So we want to dive into a lot of this just to kind of level set. I don't know where we want to
Well, I want to say a couple of things that I wanted to, as you mentioned, just the climate of the economy overall.
Yes.
And it's not just being impacted on a national basis, but an international basis.
Sure. Yeah.
That's happening. So 2 stories just really quick here. One is that I had one brother who actually got laid off from the federal government. So he passed me on his resume so that I could actually put it out to my community of seeing what he was looking like.
Right.
Well, I passed it on to one brother in the community, and he told me he had gotten laid off.
The guy you passed it to.
The guy that I passed it on to, he had gotten laid off. Then there's another guy that I had talked to because they did not get any additional funding for a program. He got laid off.
Yeah.
And so it's just been this ripple or domino effect of just not having the level of security in your positions at this point.
Yes.
And not being able to find employment that would be commiserate to what you used to have.
Yes.
From a financial standpoint, from where it's located, and all of that. So that was one story. I'm still working through that. The second story is just we had just recently done a study on the decline of families in churches.
Yes.
And that has caused a major impact to the dynamic of the family because of the lack of faith or the lack of consistency of faith. So we're seeing the moral and ethical challenges of the family and of men stepping up into leadership that's causing major issues just across the country. Now, there are some highlights, but but just to provide that level of context, I think we're being so bombarded with so much right now. How do we really ground and anchor ourselves so that we can be in this world, but not of this world, so that we don't have that level of anxiety that pushes us to decisions, challenges, and actions that may not be appropriate or in the best interest of ourselves and our families.
That's good.
That's
well
right.
put.
Yeah.
Right?
Well put. Yeah.
So where do we want to start, gentlemen, with just what does this look like, or what does this mean for men in leadership capacities, in spiritual capacities, and in mental capacities?
Right.
If I can go ahead and jump in,
Please.
I think it's essential to especially address the mental health piece when it comes to the well-being of men holistically, right? Starts from here. The things that we take in, you talk about eye gates, ear gates, how we perceive those things as we experience them really determines how we walk it out, right? So if you know, and you were talking about, the common theme is being laid off.
Yeah.
So if you feel or you see that you being laid off is coming down the pipeline, of course, automatically you're going to envision what's the worst that could happen. We'll lie to ourselves and say, oh, everything is going to be fine, and, of course we pray and we have faith and things like that.
Yeah.
But there's still this thought in the back of your mind as to what if I'm put in a position where I cannot take care of and accommodate my family?
Yeah. That's a real feeling.
It's a real thing.
That's a real
I mean, when your back is against the wall and you may have maybe a backup plan, or you may have an emergency fund, or whatever the case may be, but we're talking about, especially as men, we're looking at longevity.
Yeah.
And if our longevity is threatened, then we can get into a very dark space, right? A couple statistics here. So men die by suicide 4 times likely than women.
Wow.
Okay? More likely.
Right.
4 times more likely.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's from the CDC in 2023. Another one is, while 1 in 10 men experience depression and anxiety, less than half seek treatment. Less than half of men actually get the professional help that they need in order to get over that hump.
And real quick, why do you think that is?
Pride.
Yeah.
A lot of it is pride. We feel like we can carry it. And I think that's just the nature of man.
Do you think there's always this, almost that feeling though of, well, I'm still okay. And like the house is like everything. There's a meme out there, right? Where it's like a guy sitting in the chair and he's like, it's fine. And then the fire is like engulfing everything around him.
Yes.
And he's still sitting there saying, it's fine. Is that what a lot of men are doing?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And it's because we've invested so much that we want to feel and believe that we're okay, right? Everything that I built up for me to support my family and
all the stuff and things that I have,
yes,
and my identity.
Yeah, sometimes we can psychologically trick ourselves into thinking that it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I actually recently just watched this video the other day of a man that was on his boat. He had a pretty nice boat, and the boat was on fire. And of course the winds were going, and that fire was, it was kicking quickly.
Right.
To a point where he was on there with a fire extinguisher, and he was trying to put this fire out, knowing that the fire extinguisher would not even touch the fire that was on that boat, right? But in his mind, because he built something, the denial was like, I'm going to take. And so, you got rescue boats coming in. They're like, you've got to get off this boat. It's going to blow any moment.
You just don't realize what I've been... all this time I've put in.
But that's what he said.
I can't let it go.
That's exactly what he said. This is my boat. And the guy that was actually telling him, you got to get off the boat, it's going to blow, he told him, shut up. He said, shut up. This is my boat. And he said, fine, go ahead and burn with it. And thankfully there was another rescue boat that came in, but that guy was not going to risk his life trying to get this guy onto the boat.
Right.
So long story short, we kind of developed this idea that because this is what I've built and now there's a threat toward it, I want to believe that it's going to be okay. But deep down inside, there's so much level of angst. Right. And so if we're not careful, it can spiral really quickly into suicidal ideations and the like. Right. One more statistic. Men are 2 to 3 times more likely to abuse drugs than women. 2 to 3 more times likely to abuse drugs than women when they're in very critical situations. As a way of coping. Right.
Gotcha.
And so I think in understanding those statistics, it's important for us, and I say this all the time, to know ourselves, know thyself. I am a great proponent of understanding who we are, how we respond to certain situations, and governing ourselves accordingly. So if we know that our back is against the wall, don't fight it. Seek the help, tell somebody, reach out to community, reach out to a friend, whatever the case may be, but don't feel like you're burdening yourself with this situation that's eventually going to cause so much more havoc, right? So that I think, just starting there, as men, it's very important to know ourselves. What makes us tick? What are the things that really cause that high level of anxiety to where our elevators are so high that everything else around us is being neglected, whether it be family, our work, our skill set, our relationship with the Father. What is it that we need to identify that's causing us to go left when we need to be centered? or right when we need to be centered.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know, Osei, you talked
sure.
in the past also about having those healthy outlets.
Yes.
And when you're in crisis mode, or at least it looks like crisis is on the way,
right,
it's very difficult to be like, okay, let me make sure I'm setting aside time for my healthy outlets.
Right.
I'm in decision mode. I got to figure it out mode.
Correct.
So I know that plays a factor as well. For
And that's a good point. As a matter of fact, and we've talked about this in recent episodes, how it's important to identify macro and micro coping mechanisms.
Yes,
right.
Gotcha.
Macro coping mechanisms are those things that are routine for you, whether it be you get up and you meditate, whether it be exercise, spending time with your family, you know, whether it be 2 or 3 times out of the week, or even meeting with a therapist every other week, once a month. These are routine things that help you to cope through times where it can be a bit stressful. We also use that analogy as well. It's almost similar to going to your PCP, right? Getting your levels checked. What is it that's off, and what do I need to do to make sure that things stay regulated?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We also talked about macro coping. So micro coping. So there's macro coping and micro coping. Micro coping are those things that we do in the moment of distress.
Yeah.
Similar to what we talked about, it's like going to an ER, right? If we know that, we don't get to this doctor immediately, our life is at risk.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with coping. When there's something that happens in the moment, we've got to reach into our bag of artillery and be able to exercise that thing immediately to get to a point where maybe we're not as regulated as we would be with macro coping, but at least we're not putting ourselves in a position where we can definitely spiral quickly.
So bring that back then, Osei, to the mindset that you have, because all of that you're talking about this coping mechanisms that we have because we've written these narratives in our head regarding everything will be okay. I got it. I'm carrying this bag all by myself.
Right.
Everything will work out okay. And sometimes we also write these false narratives in our head that I can handle it by myself.
Yes.
I can do that. So
yes.
Your thing is like the mindset that we may have as men that we can do it all alone, or we can handle that challenge is a challenge.
Yeah. I think a healthy mindset is to just be honest with ourselves.
Okay.
When it does become too much, when we go into our head and we build this narrative, like you said, we want to convince ourselves that it's believable, right? That what I'm thinking about right now is a credible thought, and nobody could counter this thought. It's very real to me.
Wow.
But if we being honest and truthful with ourselves, then we can finally make the decision and say, no, this is too much. This is too much. And that's why I said it's important to know yourself. If you know yourself and you know what your limit is, then you can be honest with yourself and say, I can't, it's intolerable. Yeah. I've got to now make some choices and some decisions. I may need some additional support and some help. So I think that comes along with the healthy mindset, being honest and truthful. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Men's PowerConnect. Stay plugged in as we continue our conversation in part 2 of Pressure Tested next week. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that notification bell to receive all of our channel's content as soon as it drops. And as always, don't forget to go out and encourage another brother.